Hello and welcome to a podcast about something where each week we dive deep into whatever it is we find interesting. I've got Nick on the line with me back again, and today we are talking about the dinner party from The Office. I'm really excited about this. Nick, how about you?
Oh, definitely, man. I've been eager to talk about this one.
I've been eager to talk about this for like 11 years. I think this premiered in 2008. Nobody ever wants to listen to me talk about it. I don't know why.
I think people might get some joy out of this after seeing the Twitter activity from earlier today.
Yeah, we put up a Twitter asking for some feedback on The Office, and we got a lot of activity already, so we'll be shouting out some people at the end of the episode.
Oh, definitely.
That might be a new thing we do each week is the day we record, we'll put up something to ask for some feedback on whatever the topic is now that it's a little more fresh. Before I was, recording months in advance, so I couldn't really do that weeks in advance.
Most definitely.
Yeah, so the first thing I want to talk about before we dive into the dinner party is when and how did you come across The Office? Because I feel like with The Office, everybody's got like this different story because nobody likes it the first time they watch it, for the most part.
I'm inclined to agree with you, honestly. The way I came across it is I worked in a restaurant for years, so I worked with servers who spent a lot of time watching, stuff on TV. They get off work, drink a few beers, and watch, and they all talked about The Office and how funny it was and this and that. So, I gave it a shot one night when I was in the Netflix hole, and, I really like Steve Carell, but I couldn't get past his weirdness.
Michael was very overbearing the first time.
Oh yeah, man, and it's just
how long ago did you watch it? Did you start while the show was still on, or was it a binge after the show was already over?
It was still on. I think it was in its 6th season.
Okay, that's solid.
Yeah, and I had never seen anything, but I'd seen it in pop culture a ton, so I had some familiarity with it. But that first time around, I didn't dig it all that much, and I eventually just rewatched it after watching Parks and Recreation, I want to say.
Yeah. Parks and Rec is a little easier to digest, like just jumping into it. If you jump into a random episode of The Office, having not watched the whole thing and understand it, you get very turned off by Michael and Dwight, and you just don't get why everything is the way it is. But once you've sat and you watch 3 seasons in a row without stopping, you just want to watch the next 6 seasons.
Well, the characters are so engaging and they're relatable as hell. So it's something I've always enjoyed it ever since that second watch. And once you get to know Michael's quirks and Dwight's quirks and how they work together, dude, they're comedy gold.
Oh, absolutely. And that was so for me it was the same thing. I started watching in 2007, 2008, somewhere in there. So it might have been 2009. It was the middle of the 5th season was when I started watching, but I didn't pick up there. They had the reruns of the early seasons on TBS, and I had stumbled upon it sometimes and got really annoyed by it and just moved on with my life. But I was over at a friend's apartment one night because I was in college. So we're over there and we just have the TV on in the background, and they're doing the block of 4 episodes in a row. And I want to say it was the middle of season 3, when Jim, he's gone to Stanford, but the Stanford branch is about to close. So it's 4 episodes in that little. And I think the Benihana Christmas was one of them. So that was, because that's the episode I've seen the most is the Benihana Christmas, because that was my first one. And then every subsequent rewatch, I've seen it again, obviously.
Yeah.
But so we're just watching it in the background, and I found myself not caring about what my friends were doing and just focused, just deadlocked on the show,
right?
Because Michael had calmed down a little bit by then. And then so I got home, and this is before Netflix streaming, it's before Amazon Prime, anything like that. So the only way I could get to start at the beginning was I had to buy it on iTunes.
Oof.
So I bought season 1 on iTunes. It was pretty cheap because it's only 6 episodes. So I did that, binged that right away. Loved the basketball episode. And then I had to go to season 2 and season 3 and season 4. And then they were on break, the winter break that all shows do in season 5. And I caught up to that. And then the first one I watched was live, actually watched sitting down because we didn't have DVR or anything. We were just in college. So the first one I watched was the one after the Super Bowl, where it's the stress relief one. Boom roasted, Stanley has a heart attack, all of that.
That is such a good episode.
that cold open, I hate that cold open with the fake fire, but everything else in that episode is great. And so like that, I was just like hooked. And then I couldn't, because we didn't have a DVR, I'd already bought like the season pass on iTunes, but I had to wait like 3 days after it actually aired for iTunes to download it for me so I could actually watch it. So I was like just like stuck in this constant like, no, I need to see The Office. And then yeah, it just took off from there. And that's kind of the same way like I've always told people, like if I'm on the Office Reddit or like I meet someone who hasn't seen The Office, I'm like, have you seen any of it? And their answer is always, yeah, and Michael's kind of annoying, so I don't get it. And I'm like, all right, look, go home, watch season 1. Watch all of season 1. Don't worry that Michael's annoying. Just then start season 2, and you're not going to stop after that.
Right? I think season 1 is something where you get to know, the characters, and it seems at times they're trying too hard, where, I don't know, it segues beautifully into the second season when they have calmed down a little bit. You know who they are. Their quirks are easier to digest and stuff like that. So I think it helps make it more enjoyable then.
Right, the actors have found their way into their characters a little more by then.
Yeah.
The only first season episode I'll really ride for is the basketball episode, because that's like, as someone who's played pickup basketball my entire life, like that's what you see. You see these guys out there that have no business being out there, that you're just like, what the hell are they doing? Chucking it off the side of the rim, going, Kobe, and just completely miss it.
The old days at the Y, man.
So yeah, I just always think it's like that. And I talked 2 separate girlfriends into sitting down and watching The Office with me that way.
Nice.
One is now my wife. So
same here, man. Same
here. You just gotta be like, all right, yeah, it's annoying. Just sit and watch it. I promise it'll be worth it. And they both love the show.
Yeah.
The first girl probably liked it more than me by the time we had finished. Like by the time we had caught up, and then my wife has moved on to bigger and better reality shows, but she still has a soft spot for The Office when it comes on.
I think if you've watched it, everybody does. I've never met anyone who didn't look back fondly, like, damn, I miss The Office.
I'll admit, with no shame, I almost am in tears every time I come across Jim and Pam's wedding. And then the like last 2 or 3 episodes in there where like Jim's proving his love to Pam with like the little DVD he makes of them, and he gives her the note and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like it every time it makes me emotional.
It's hard not to be, man. It's people, they look so happy. They depict that really well. And
right.
That would be an awesome wedding, Niagara Falls and all that good stuff. Like that would be so cool, man.
Yeah, the real wedding where they're on the boat, like that would be cool.
Yeah.
Not the one with too many people.
Oh, and dancing and stuff. I'd be a little pissed.
Not a fan. Very small wedding for me.
Same here. Same here.
So we are going to talk about season 4, episode 13, or if you're like me and count 2-parters as just one number, it's episode 9.
Yep.
Because on my hard drive, I just have them labeled, and 2-parters are always the same file. So I have it on mine as season 4, episode 9, but apparently it's season 4, episode 13. The dinner party. Maybe my all-time favorite episode. It's a toss-up between this and basketball and Office Olympics. Oh man, there's so many.
There's about 10 super good episodes. I'd say this ranges in the top 3 for me, but this is
definitely
just,
top 3.
It's one of those all-time great comedy episodes.
Yeah, and a lot of people have it on like their worst list because it's kind of hard to sit through, but like it's just amazing. Like it's such a train wreck that it's fantastic. I liken it to, we did an episode on Jingle All the Way a little bit ago and talked about how insane that movie was from start to finish. The dinner party's kind of the same. You just watch it for the dumpster fire that it is.
But it's such a beautiful dumpster fire.
Exactly.
I can't help but laugh every time I watch it, which, I mean, when you've seen an episode 6, 7 times, Jesus, I mean, I want to say at least.
Yeah, that's an understatement, I think.
It's hard to find it's still funny, but I still do, so I'll take that.
Every single time. Like, I was watching it, I just watched it a couple weeks ago because I was doing like a normal rewatch of the whole series, and I finished it last week. I finished season 9 last week, but then I rewatched it again today and was still laughing and still found more things to talk about for this.
Same here, man.
And then people are hitting us on Twitter with all these GIFs and just little lines and moments from it, and it's just like, I laugh my ass off every time. I can't help it.
Oh yeah, I was eagerly looking at my phone every time it went off. It's like, oh, because people are spitting fire tonight, man. I'll take that.
Yeah, we'll get to that. Don't worry, guys. We're getting to you at the end. So let's start with Michael's diabolical plan in the cold open. where he makes up a fake overtime job handed down from corporate so nobody can make plans that night.
Mm-hmm.
So they have to come for the dinner party. Is that the smartest thing Michael's ever done?
I don't think so. I think the smartest thing Michael's ever done was when he proposed to Holly. Second, though,
I mean, but he tried to do it in fire in the parking lot with gasoline.
but originally,
So, like, the idea of proposing to Holly is smart,
yes,
but the
way
execution of it is not.
it's poor. It's creative, though. Is kind of what I was going for. But dude,
I'll
it's.
give you that.
I think it's his most diabolical moment by far.
Oh yeah,
like,
this is almost a Dwight plan here with the a master plan, putting this much thought into it,
it's straight
just
out
to
of the
get Jim and
Dwight
Pam to hang out with
playbook.
him.
Oh man, and the way he looks at Jim and then the camera and then at Jim and then the camera, like, I got you cornered, you little bastard.
Yeah, Jim's like, just trying so hard to think of an excuse, and he just can't. It reminds me in Seinfeld of when George gets stuck having dinner with Jay Peterman all night and can't get out of it because he just has no lies to come up with, and he goes on a whole adventure with Elaine's boss. But we won't get into that.
But I mean, you got that right. Jim's caught dead to rights, and for a guy who is usually pretty prepared and not caught dead to rights, seeing that look on his face, and Michael especially, considering they think at times so little of him, perfect.
Well, in season 3, in the Benihana Christmas, Ryan gets invited to the lunch, and he's got the Rolodex basically of excuses for Michael, and he just like runs through 5 of them right in a row, so nobody else gets any. I thought Jim would, take a cue from that and just always have one in his back pocket, but I guess he didn't learn from that.
He's too honest of a guy.
I guess so. Yeah, Ryan's kind of a douche. But we're not going to talk too much about douchey Ryan because he's not in this episode. Thank God.
Thank God.
So they get over to. We're going to try and go through chronologically, but I'm sure we'll bounce around also.
Oh yeah.
They get to Michael and Jan's condo. And they go on the tour. Babe,
tour first.
Start the tour, babe.
Babe.
Yeah, babe. Upstairs or downstairs, babe. I think just for the rest of the episode, we should call each other babe as many times as we possibly can.
All right, babe. Sounds good, babe.
All right. If somebody counts all the babes and gets to us, you get a free magnet.
That's a good one. All right, babe.
Okay, babe. We're not going to make it easy on you, though. So they start the tour. They start upstairs. I don't know if you noticed this, but Jan's office is just completely empty.
I love.
There's no computer, nothing set up on the desk.
It's her. I can't work in places I create. And
I'm sure you're the same with your doodles.
Oh, dude, when she opens the door and Michael's just like, where nothing happens. This is like, man, I feel like that's the opening assault from Michael to Jan.
Oh, Michael's definitely on his game in this one. But so this is another thing that I didn't notice, but as I was doing research into the episode, which there is a ton of research
seriously
into this
man.
episode on the internet.
Reddit's chock full of stuff.
I was super surprised with how much stuff I found. There are apparently still plastic covers over like the arms of the office chairs in there because the writers thought that would be funny if it's just like this completely unused thing. So she bought the chairs, set them up, and just never sat in them, so the plastic's still on them.
I've honestly never even noticed that, but I
didn't notice the plastic covers, but this time I noticed that there was nothing in the office.
There's absolutely
just a desk
nothing.
and a chair.
Well, and I mean, I think that's when Angela says later in the episode, like, you keep such a tidy house. To have Angela say something like that talks to, I don't know, it is a throwback to how fucking anal Jan is. Like,
I mean,
Jesus
yeah,
Christ.
and she is the uptight accounting chick, so if she knows clean, anyone would.
Who licks cats.
Yes. So the next, they go to the bedroom, or actually they go to the candle room, the workspace next, because, you got to have separate work, a separate place where you work and create.
I mean,
Pam understands that with her doodles.
With her doodles, that was so cold blooded. Oh god, Jan.
She's not nice to Pam, but
No.
of course Pam and Michael were ex-lovers. So
according to her, but we'll get to that later on.
Yeah, we're gonna get to that. So then they get to the bedroom. Do you think Michael left the camera up on purpose in there to be like, hey, we get down in here?
Absolutely. I mean, that cheeky little smile he's got on his face when he's looking around, and I think Michael looks
He's
at.
like, "Oh, sorry."
I don't even think he's sorry about it. It's more like when.
Well, he said he gave that to Jan, but like he definitely
Oh God,
definitely wants people to know.
He was so pumped about that because Jan's obviously, I'm guessing at least, judging by his track record, the most beautiful woman he's probably ever been with, and
Carol's not bad.
I don't think Jan's very attractive, but in the world of The Office, and
once the twins come through, I mean that helps.
I think Hunter was all in after that.
Well, yeah, I mean, she took him by the hand.
Did she make him a man?
That one night.
One night.
Love that part.
But yeah, I mean, he did that on purpose, and whether he actually filmed or not, I could leave up to debate. But
well, so that's actually mentioned in a previous episode on the Women's Appreciation Day, where he takes them all to the mall to buy Victoria's
underwear
Secret
and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, he says Jan likes to videotape them so they can play it back.
Oh yeah, and critique
judge his technique. Yeah. So there's definitely videotaping going on, but I don't know that it's sensual in any way.
Defeated my point there, but yeah.
I didn't remember that. I found that in my research as well. Like that kind of stuff goes over my head until somebody points it out, and then I'm like, oh.
Yeah, a lot of times it does until the 8th, 9th time I've seen it. Then it's like my slow self, like, yes, okay, I get it. I got it.
Anything else in the bedroom that we need to mention?
Michael's bed.
What a comfortable bed.
I really like this stool here. Oh, that's my bed.
And Pam and Jim are just looking at like, what do you mean? And he curls up on it, and I mean, he fits.
I would never be caught dead sleeping on a stool, and Jan has space issues, so let me sleep on this tiny little. I mean, I want to say it's 2 by 4.
There's like
maybe?
thousands of pillows on the bed too.
Oh yeah, and you see Jan later on. I want to say when Michael's eating cereal and stuff like that, and she's all sprawled up in the bed.
I think that's the beginning of that's the first episode when Michael hits Meredith with his car.
That's right.
Yeah, he takes him around, and Jan's just like completely sprawled out.
I'd be curious to see if the stool.
She won't
is
be
still
up for
there.
a couple hours. That's interesting.
This is what I come home to.
This is where all the magic happens. This is why I do it. Yeah, and apparently, so every photo in the condo is of Jan and another man. There are no photos of Michael anywhere in the condo. That's something I read. I didn't notice.
I noticed the self-centered art when they were originally going on the tour, and they were standing on the stairs, and she has this mural of her, of all these different colors, and it's just like, man, got it. To have a painting of yourself like 6 times over, and you have to walk by it every day. I don't like my face that much.
No, I don't even like looking at mirrors most of the time. Like if there's a mirror in a weird place, I'm just like, what? Get away.
Makes me oddly uncomfortable. Don't know why.
Yeah, I agree. So then there's a ring at the doorbell. Andy and Angela show up. There's some Michael tries to give Angela a hug. That doesn't go over well. No. And Andy's wearing like 6 coats or something. He's got quite a get up on, but we get a lot of he might say tuna more times there than they say babe throughout the entire episode.
He rapid fires that shit, Oh, hey, tuna, you guys having tuna for dinner? You must be sick of
Bet you have tuna every night. There was back in the heyday of Tumblr, there was a Tumblr account that would just post office stuff all the time that was called Tuna Every Night. So I followed it, and ever since like that line's been one of my favorites just because of that person who ran that Tumblr. So if you're out there, shout out.
Shout out to you, Tumblr
from
user.
The Tuna Every Night Tumblr user.
You
don't post anymore. Sad. Yeah, so then she says it's time to get the Osobuco started. So here's my question. Takes 3 hours to prepare. Jan, who's unemployed, shouldn't she have started like literally any other time?
I have something to say about this one. I think yes.
I'm all ears, babe.
All right, babe. Don't get offended, babe. No, this is a safe zone, and we'll everything will be okay.
A lot of families in Spain don't even eat until
midnight.
9 o'clock sometime. Midnight.
Yeah.
When in Rome.
When in Rome. But yeah, I mean, I don't think it's necessarily. It has nothing to do with the sex of Jan. being a woman, staying at home, and expected to cook and clean. But in my eyes, that's just common courtesy. Like,
Well, you're throwing a dinner party. If people are coming, let's say they're coming over at 6 because Jim and Pam went home, changed, and came back. So they went home at a little after 5, obviously, because Michael kept them there late. So they go home, they change, they get back. They're there for 6. Dinner should be ready by 7, whoever's cooking it. Michael obviously can't get there and get it. So if it's going to take 3 hours, Michael can't get there and get it started. Like, you're at home, you should have started that at 3:30, 4 o'clock. I'm sorry.
Oh, I totally agree, dude.
If Michael was at home at 3:30 or 4 o'clock and could cook, then yeah, you do that. But I mean, you're a part of this dinner party in the same way. So you gotta do your part. She was cooking it anyways.
Mm-hmm.
She needed to start it earlier. It's not like she was doing anything.
She was busy dancing, bro. She's just getting in the groove. But I am 100% in agreement with you, because that's just what you do for your significant other.
And for the party at whole.
Exactly, man.
Like, you're throwing a party.
Whenever you have groups of people that I oddly think Jan wants to impress Jim, and shit on Pam at the same time. So I think
she doesn't want Dwight there at all.
She has a lot of tension there, but I think that just really speaks to how selfish she is as a character, and that's just bogus, man. I would be so pissed off if I go to this dinner party that I didn't even want to, and some chick goes, "Yeah, it'll be about 3 hours at least," and then hit me with some "we don't eat till midnight" crap. I'd be like,
Well, and Pam's even like 3 hours from now, or 3 hours from you started like 2 hours ago.
Pam is so good in that episode.
Yeah, Pam and Jim are perfect as usual. But then we move into the living room. Michael brags about his plasma for a little bit.
The plasma TV.
The plasma that's actually an LCD TV, as pointed out by whoever on the internet.
I just like to stand here for hours and just watch.
Staring. So, I noticed here, Jan is not actually drinking the wine. She puts it up to her lips, does not drink anything. Then she turns the stereo on for everyone's favorite song. If this isn't your favorite song and you're listening to this podcast, you just need to get the fuck out now. I'm sorry, you're not going to like the rest of this. We already got your download stats because you've listened to 20 minutes. So, like, just, you can go if you don't like this song, because it's the best song ever.
He's a great songwriter.
Jan and Hunter clearly had a relationship, right?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Jim and Pam actually points it out in season 9 that she and Pam believed that they had sex, and that she says Hunter was 17 at the time. Ooh. Which makes it even weirder. But she might not know that for a fact or anything.
Yeah.
He just looked young.
Dude, he looked like he was 12.
Yeah. Fun fact about this actor. I don't know his name off the top of my head. I should have probably looked that up. I worked with a guy who was friends with him and went to college with him.
No shit.
And they were like in the acting program at Marquette University in Milwaukee together. And
small world.
Yeah, and like, so we're talking about it, and like, because we all love The Office, obviously. He's like, "Oh yeah, I know that guy," and he was in a couple movies at the time, and he had done a few things. And I was like, "Oh yeah, I kind of like everything he's done." He was in Heroes for a couple episodes. He was in this really bad movie that I like called Fired Up, where him and I can't remember the other guy's name. The blonde dude, he's in like one of the NCISs now. They were male cheer. They were football players, but they pretended to be cheerleaders to go to cheer camp with the other cheerleaders and bang hot chicks, basically. But anyway,
Sounds
so
like
he was in a couple things. So I'm like, oh yeah, I like him. And he's like, yeah, we went to college together. I was like, so I really gotta ask a question. Did he write the song? Because this was we were into season 6 by then, so this had happened already. He's like, no, he didn't write that song. It's written and sung by somebody else. I'm like, oh, that would have been so cool if like you knew the guy who wrote That One Night. That's cooler than knowing the actor, I think. If you knew the guy who wrote That One Night.
It's like knowing Bruce Springsteen, man. It's just something that jives with your soul.
It would spring steam to my ears, that's for sure.
But they're definitely having a relationship, and besides like that weird, I think Jan just likes controlling people, and I mean,
well, she definitely likes younger men.
Oh yeah, and imagine having,
as we see with Clark later on,
imagine being a 17-year-old kid working for this, smart, attractive, yada yada lady, and then you serenade her with your music, and she's just enamored with your songwriting. You're brilliant. He's brilliant.
At least he's an artist.
BFD, babe. BFD.
I'm a screenwriter. So yeah, the other thing that I always thought was, so at the end of the season, Jan is pregnant. It turns out to be a sperm bank baby. I always thought that it was Hunter's baby, and this was the year of the writer's strike. So I think like that was something that was going to get fleshed out, like that this is actually Hunter's baby, and there would be more to that than she's going to a sperm bank. But they just didn't have time to build that up, because I really thought that they were going to do more with Hunter and why she liked him so much. Like, it makes sense why he liked her so much, but why she got kind of stuck on him and kept listening to his music over and over again.
She's a little boy. She feels like she's famous. She's getting some cool attention.
Yeah, but there's a lot of little boys around that you can have sex with. Don't have sex with little boys. That's a bad plan. Yeah, don't do it.
But that's a great theory about Hunter and Jan possibly being their child. I've never honestly thought of that, and that would add a whole new level of complexity and weirdness to The Office, which makes it so good.
Yeah, because she's not drinking. She knows she's pregnant in this episode because she's not drinking. She puts the wine up to her lips and never actually sips it, and she does it twice.
That was the first thing I thought when you mentioned that, actually.
Yeah. So she already knows. Or if she doesn't know and they're going with the sperm bank game, she's at least trying to get pregnant from the sperm bank, so you would stop drinking. I remember when my wife was trying to get pregnant, she wouldn't drink or anything like that. There. Yeah, so it worked for us, so there must be something to it.
Yeah, I mean, I got one coming.
So then they start playing the name game, which this game seemed very simple. It wasn't. It was just like try and figure out a name by describing a person. Like the first one is Joe Montana, and then we get the epic. So they're all really bad at this game, but then we get the epic Michael attempt at describing. His name's Tom, and he goes on a cruise, a Caribbean cruise, and Angela has no idea, and Jim is just
fucking
being a pain in the ass. Yeah,
God love Jim.
Great Jim here.
Well, I forget what's the actor he does say. I don't remember.
He says Katie Holmes.
Yeah. Oh yeah, she's married to him.
She's married to him, and he says Dawson's Creek.
That doesn't make any sense.
So, but before that, actually, Jim tried to get out of the party.
Dude,
by faking a fire.
He tried to slide out. I thought, wasn't it? The sprinklers.
He says there was a fire, and then later he says he thought it was a flood, and like he confuses it later that because Michael says, "Can he come to Jim's apartment?" He says, "No, it's flooded," and then Pam corrects him and says it was on fire.
He was about to slide out of there like the slickest dude on earth.
Well, he did. I'll give him credit. He tried to bring Pam, but like once Jan and Michael were like, well, it only takes one of you to check on your apartment that's on fire. He's like, yep, yeah, I'm going to leave. Sorry.
You're not going to abandon this party. And I mean, that's cold-blooded tuna right there. That dude is ice cold.
Yeah, that's cold tuna. We don't like cold tuna. We like a tuna melt, where he's nice and warm and wants to bring Pam home to the on fire apartment.
Exactly. Just heat her up nice and slow. But I mean, they can't abandon that party. It's so meaningful.
I think in that situation he needs a better excuse than a fire, though, because just as they point out, like, your stuff's already gone.
Yeah,
it's gonna be gone in a couple hours when you go home. Still, like, there's nothing you need to do if everything burns. So that, like, I feel like there's a better excuse somewhere in there. I don't know what.
You can either touch on something that's taboo and be like, oh, my niece twice removed or cousin twice removed, they got their foot ran over, and I just really got to go see him. I haven't seen him in a long time. It's super important.
My brother just called. He's having the baby. I got to get to the hospital.
And that worked. 2 months later, they're like, so how's your brother's baby? Huh? What?
Well, see, that was my other thing is Michael never followed up on the fire in Jim's apartment. Like, this was a big thing that happened. Michael didn't ever ask him about it. Like 2 weeks later, like, hey, that insurance claim go through? What's going on with the fire?
Yeah, it probably went out of his mind as soon as that party ended.
I don't think it was ever in his mind.
Oh, so. Probably one ear and out the other. And I think a good boss would definitely do that. And Michael's just not a good boss in that way. He's kind of just thick-skulled.
But that was always what his redeeming quality was he actually cared for these people.
Exactly. You can care all you want, but being oblivious.
Yeah, I guess. Like, it would just go in one ear and out the other, pretty much.
Exactly. And I mean, I think because he cares so much, that's why he is a great boss. Like, he has this connection with these people, and they do these things for him they show up to work every day. That's a big deal. In the real world, people they don't show up, they don't pull their weight, they pull all this crap, and it takes a good leader to get them to come together and do their job.
Agreed. Do your job, people. So back to the name game. Michael has to pass on Tom Cruise, even with the most obvious clues out there. Angela still can't figure out. Jim's obviously messing with him and not going to answer it correctly, but Angela can't get it. And then he says rhymes with Arnold Schwarzenegger.
The governor.
Which no rhyming allowed. And Jim guesses Tom Cruise, obviously. But Angela can't figure out rhymes with Arnold Schwarzenegger. Like, come on, Angela. You know something.
She can figure something out. She's a clever lady.
I don't get, because she even says these clues aren't helping. Because he says governor of California. Like, that I could see her have a blind spot for, because, like, in her very conservative mind, like, California doesn't exist.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
definitely
she's
not.
afraid for Oscar to touch her most of the time. Like, she doesn't know what's going on in California. I get that. But Arnold Schwarzenegger, like, I feel like you can get that.
She probably honestly didn't even know who that was. If she's never, I guarantee you, Angela would never see the Terminator.
I feel like she would have seen Twins, though. Arnold's never been in a movie about cats. I gotta look now. See, now I gotta check his IMDb, because I want to see if he's ever been in a movie that features cats in any significant way.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
See if Angela. We'll have to call him out. It's a big plot hole if not.
That's a lot of muscle to dive through to get to the kitties. So I don't know. She probably would write them off before they got that close.
Are there any cats in Conan?
There's big cats in Conan. I want to say.
Let's see. Stay Hungry. That sounds like it could have cats in it. Terminator, no. Commando, no. Predator, no. Twins. I mean, there might be a cat in Twins, but it wouldn't be the Kindergarten Cop. I feel like there's a cat in that, like an important cat in Kindergarten Cop.
Shout out. I can't talk. Let us know on Twitter, guys. If there is.
If you know a movie with Arnold in it and cats, you got to let us know, because this is very important.
We got to solve this question.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I can't. From what I read, I couldn't tell.
Yeah.
So yeah, Jim's just messing with Michael. His time's up, and I love this Michael line here. Does anybody read the paper? Like, that's the only way they would have heard of Tom Cruise or Arnold Schwarzenegger.
That's the only way he's heard of him. Does anyone read the paper?
Guess. No, Michael's a film buff. He knows he's very good on the Die Hard movies.
I mean, if you're not good on the Die Hard movies, you're not American. Just not.
I guess. I don't like the Die Hard movies that much. They're fine.
No comment.
So yeah, so then they take the girls' trip to check on the Ossobuco, which is not even close. Not even close. They're in the kitchen.
That look Pam throws at the camera.
I want to give a shout out here to the Office podcast at Pod the Office on Twitter. Great. They do an episode by episode rundown. They're only through season 2 right now. So catch up. They're on a little break. Catch up with them if you haven't started. They do a great job. But they do, as part of their episodes, they do a like basically what each character is doing, and they give like credit to how the camera is as a character, and like they point out things like that of how the camera catches these little looks or things that you don't think the camera would catch, and how it's a character of its own. So they do a really good job on that. So shout out the Office podcast. They're really great. Check them out.
I'll have to check that out
if you like The Office.
That's a good point of view to have, actually. I've never thought of it that way.
Yeah,
but I mean, it's true.
So yeah, so then they get a little bit into Michael and Pam's relationship. Jan is very jealous of the relationship with Pam.
So jelly.
And Angela thinks Pam throws away faxes for some reason. But so my question is, when would Michael have claimed the relationship with Pam occurred?
I thought about that, and it was one of those where it would have to have been between Roy and Pam broke up, and or when she first started, but I don't know how long.
Because she was dating Roy since high school.
Okay, so she, it would have had to have been when they broke up, and I could see Jan going immediately to that conclusion.
Yeah. Plus, I mean, Pam saw him naked, so
she did, but he did say, "Come in."
Yeah. Isn't there a bathroom you can change in? It's very, very odd thing. And I love it when Michael comes in later in that episode where like he walks in on Jim and Pam eating lunch and he's like, "May I come in?" And it's like closing his eyes. Like that's not the same situation. You know it, Michael.
Just trying to prove a point.
I mean, it would be an iPod shuffle. Most of it was covered by his shirt tail.
But why would you say come in though? Pam had a great point. No. Why would you say come in?
To me, I think it's probably just habit of like he's in there with his door closed. Somebody knocks to like, usually Pam knocks to give a message or whatever, you know, just in the general time of the day. So like you hear someone knock and that's just your first response. You're not even thinking.
Yeah.
But at the same time, Pam's not thinking like he's going to be naked in there.
Why would you? If I walked in on my boss like naked and he told me to come in, I'd be like, dude, seriously, dude, come on.
Yeah, I'd be out real quick.
Yeah, I'd be a little pissed.
So this is another time in the kitchen Jan doesn't actually drink the wine. She puts it up to her lips and doesn't actually swallow anything.
I think you're definitely onto something, and if she's not,
I'm gonna break this whole
pregnant,
thing wide open.
Break it wide open, brother.
She's got to be already pregnant because she has she's visibly pregnant like 2 months later in the finale.
Yeah, and I mean
that happens pretty quickly.
That happens really quickly and a little too. I mean, it doesn't really work that way, so that's a little too fast. So yeah, I want to say she's already pregnant.
So let's talk a little Serenity by Jan.
Serenity by Jan for $10,000. You can be part owner.
So Andy he agrees. Is he still on the hook for this? Like, is he a stakeholder in Serenity by Jan?
I want to say Michael wouldn't hold him to it, but I would see Andy going up to him just to be a kiss ass and being like, "Hey, you know, I still wanted this great business that Jan came up with, even though they're broke up."
Candles are the future here.
$2 billion a year.
That's right. He and then she has so many candles in her workspace.
Bonfire.
But no customers. Oh, it smells like fire. Bonfire, actually, yeah.
Bonfire. And when Jim like first opens the door and he's standing there looking at it, he's about to throw up in his hand. You can see, you know, Jan in the background repeatedly smell it. It's like, you know, that weird South Park episode where they smell their own farts.
Don't ever get high on your own supply.
Don't do it.
But yeah, like anytime I go in, like my wife likes to go into these like bath bomb stores or like not Bed Bath and Beyond, but like Bath and Body Works, those things. Like I can't do that.
I stand outside.
I have to. Like I'm like, you go in there. Like if I stand in there for more than 2 minutes, I get a headache, and I'm just like, I can't do it. So yeah, I don't know. Like that little closet basically that she's working in, like. That's probably not doing anything good for the baby.
Not at all. And you got to imagine their entire house smells like that. So how would you know if your house is on fire?
It doesn't smell like any one candle. It smells like an amalgamation of a bunch of different candles.
A bunch of crappy candles.
Which is much worse.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's the overwhelming, overpowering crap by Serenity by Jan.
I mean, Serenity by Jan is kicking ass when Michael tells her about his herpes. So, I mean, she must have got somebody to buy her candles.
She bullied them all.
Yep. A nice little thing I noticed when they take a hand in the garage is Michael has a Bowflex behind him, which was mentioned in the Money episode, how he spent all this money on non-essential things when Oscar's going through his finances. Mm-hmm. So like that is out there. And then another thing I read is that he has all the stuff in the garage is his. Like basically Jan moved in and moved everything of his out, like just completely took over. And I guess they showed it in a deleted scene in some previous episode of her actually going through the condo and like boxing up all the shit and putting it in the garage. I mean, so I got to go look that up.
I'm going to go look that up after this. I'm making a note now. But Jan is most definitely the kind of person who would do that. And Michael's a pushover. He would totally let her, especially if he's getting laid.
Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah, it's shown time and time again in his relationship with Jan. He would do anything.
Anything.
So then there's another ring at the doorbell. Somebody's here.
Who's here? Who is it?
Dwight with a date. So is he wrong in showing up?
You know, I'm gonna open.
Michael didn't tell him he can't come.
He only said he had to have a date, and Dwight fulfilled that and bring wine glasses. That was the other one. He fulfilled those obligations.
Couples only, and we don't have enough wine glasses.
Yeah, and I will say, let me open with comedy-wise, definitely not wrong. But dude,
Oh, yeah.
I would be
For the sake of the episode, he definitely had to be there.
well, and Michael. I mean, any normal person would have picked up that this was a big deal to their significant, to Jan, and her as a character looks at this like the ultimate. If she had a set of balls, Michael just kicked her right in them with steel-toed boots. She's pissed. So I'm gonna go with it's a little wrong that Dwight showed up. He kind of threw a wrench in his buddy's plans. He cockblocked.
Yeah, but at the same time, I've got to say that Michael defended it. He said, he's my friend and I want him here. So like Michael stood his ground. That's probably the only time in their relationship he ever stood his ground. But he said, Dwight's my friend. I want him here. And I'm sorry that you don't, but like he should be able to invite who he wants to the party as well.
Oh, I totally agree. I do think Dwight's a turd for showing up, but I do admire the fact that Michael, like as you pointed out, defended his friend, and I think that's something where Michael never backs down throughout the series when it comes to his friends.
Yeah, for the most part. And apparently, so between Dwight and the babysitter, there was at some point an actual relationship. He says it's purely carnal and all that, which I always thought it was just him trying to make Angela jealous, basically. But then later in season 9, when he's interviewing all his weird friends for the junior salesman position to fill in for Jim while he's working at Athlete, she comes back and she says, we dated for a while. So there was actual relationship with the babysitter, which is very strange.
Very strange. Dwight was getting some action.
I'd really like her email address so I could ask her some questions.
Email?
What is that?
This beet salad is so good. It's really good, or whatever the fuck she says. But, I mean, when they're eating that beet salad, I cringe every time I see it because beets are gross.
I've never had a beet and never will.
My wife dominates like whole jars of beets sometimes. It's crazy.
Ugh.
That and pickles.
Yeah. Pickles I've heard of. Beets, not my thing.
It's crazy.
So then we're in the actual dinner. Something I noticed was Jan, she goes and gets the food. She serves Michael and Pam first, which I thought was weird.
Well,
because
I want to throw a quick wrench in that, actually.
Okay.
I don't think when I was rewatching it that they did get served first.
They did.
In the bottom corner, if you're looking at it, in the bottom right corner, there's already a plate of food on the table. And it's not part of the two she sets down.
Is it Dwight's food?
Honestly,
because him and the babysitter brought their own.
Well,
but I think Angela was in that bottom right, so maybe Angela and Andy got served first.
Well, you can't see the character, but it is the same food that's on the plates of Michael and
Okay.
Pam. But either way,
All right.
I think that's deliberate to serve them as a pair. Because
she's trying to poison them, obviously.
I don't know what's in the food. That's when I'd nope out, man. I'd be like, yeah, I gotta go. If you think your girl's poisoning you, bro, sorry, I'm out.
Yeah, that's a relationship ender there. So then, what do you think of Michael's soft teeth? I don't really have any thoughts on it. I just think it's a funny thing.
Well, that's gross. How could you say that? I have soft teeth. Like, who would go with the, and dipping his steak in wine.
In the water, yeah.
Would no matter, is it the water? I always thought it was the wine.
Or, yeah, it might be the wine, but just in a drink.
Either way, I always thought, I wonder what that tastes like. I imagine it doesn't taste very good, but I can't help myself every time I see it.
I don't drink wine, but I know wine doesn't taste good, and steak is so good on its own.
Yeah.
And this isn't steak, this is ossobuco, which is, I believe it's pork, but I could be wrong.
I have no idea what it is.
Might be lamb.
It looked like some kind of gristly meat. That's about all I can say.
But it is, it's supposed to be very tender, so like the soft teeth shouldn't really bother him. It is pork. Teeth. Yeah, it is pork. Thank you, Google. So yeah, I'd like, to me, that it's supposed to be tender and he just is dipping it. It's a weird thing to do at a dinner party.
It's a super weird thing to do, and I would not be able to pay attention to my meal.
You can't put sauce on it or mix it with the mashed potatoes, something like that.
That's
There's a lot better ways to go.
Steak and potatoes. That's what that's how it goes together. But I think he knows that's gonna piss Jan off, and it works. It fires off.
He's trying to piss Jan off. I think he's just doing it because he's just not. He doesn't care what anyone he's oblivious to it, like we said before.
Yeah. I just don't think. I feel like once she kind of embarrassed him, he's ready for war. Like he's talking back and he's ready
Could
to
be.
go at this point.
And that's when he goes and gets the St. Pauli girl.
Exactly. So if that's not shitting on Jan, I don't know what is.
Well, that definitely was deliberate to be an FU at Jan. And actually the painting that he moves to put the St. Pauli girl up, I really like that painting. I want one in my house. I might look it up and find what it is.
Bet you it's on Amazon. Gotta have it.
It probably is. Everything's on Amazon. And then we get the all-time best "That's what she said" moment. You're hardly my first.
And he's just struggling with it so much. He's like an old cartoon of someone about to explode.
He knows he's supposed to be mad and angry, but he can't pass up the opportunity to get into "That's what she said." He has to do it.
He never can. Even in, Jan's deposition, I want to say he says it, but...
Yep, in the deposition, and nobody gets... your delivery's all wrong, but yeah.
And Steve Carell has that he's... Like, Kevin Farley, was... funny because he was fat, I guess, that fat humor. Chris Farley, I'm sorry. I'm thinking of Kevin Smith. Steve Carell has that yelling comedy, like a lot like Will Ferrell, who can yell, and it's really funny, and it adds another layer to the character.
Just like, the way his voice carries when they yell, like it makes it just funny to hear him yell. That's why loud noises is so funny.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the dumbest thing in the world, but like loud noises is just, yeah.
Oh, Kelly Clarkson.
So do you have a different contender for best "That's what she said" off the top of your head?
Deposition. Because
that
was
pretty good.
That was the ultimate burn. I mean, when he goes on his tirade after she is just being a turd, I think that adds another bit of flavor to it because they see this like weird "who says that's what she says" in a deposition,
right? Schools
people, and then goes into this passionate speech afterwards.
Yeah. So then Jan gets pissed, throws the Dundie at the plasma.
That is a $200 TV, babe.
Good luck paying me back on your $0 a month plus benefits salary, babe.
And she just immediately starts crying. Like he fucking burned her, man. That was so good.
But he's not wrong.
No, he's not. Not at all.
And he's already bad with money. She made him buy a Porsche, trade in 2 cars to buy a Porsche, and then
sleeps all day.
She's just gonna be throwing shit around. Do you think Michael was more upset about the Dundie or the plasma breaking?
The plasma. I just want to stand in front of it for hours. Just watch.
I gotta agree. He's got thousands of Dundies, I'm sure.
Well, and he's so proud of it. His time and back in that day, those TVs were kind of expensive. I mean, $200 for that's crazy. My 40-something inch TV, smart TV, was like $200-something bucks.
Yeah, it's come a long way.
Yeah, full circle, man. It's crazy.
So everything breaks out. The police are getting there. Oh no, I missed this. This happened before. This happened when Dwight showed up. Snip, snap, snip, snap, snip, snap.
You have no idea what 3 vasectomies.
I thought it happened after dinner as everyone's walking out, but it happens before dinner.
Yep.
So I have a theory. And my friends over at the Office Pod have talked about my theory before because they did a fan theories episode where they just took a bunch of fan theories and talked about them, and they featured mine, so I appreciate that.
Nice.
But I want to talk about it here because it's my show now.
Huh.
I believe that Jan is very crazy.
No way.
Yeah, that's the whole theory. No, so Jan is going to the sperm bank, so she has to be on fertility drugs, right? To help sperm take hold, let's say. So she make Michael get a vasectomy. Like she goes around in circles about it and basically talks him into getting it because she doesn't want to bring kids up in this crazy world. But so she makes him get a vasectomy because she doesn't want to take the chance that on her fertility drugs, Michael accidentally gets her pregnant. Because she wants the sperm bank baby, or maybe Hunter's baby if we subscribe to the theory that Hunter is the baby's father.
Dude, you are killing with these theories right now.
That's not the end.
Oh, bring it. Hit me with it, bro.
Yeah, there's still 2 more vasectomies we got to get through. That's the first vasectomy. So then she realizes she's pregnant. And she's kind of in like this comfort zone with Michael at that time when she realizes she's pregnant. And, she thinks, I can do this in Scranton. I'll have a kid. It'll give me something to do. Michael's been nice. He'll be a good dad. Let me make him think that he's the father. get the vasectomy reversed.
Hmm.
Snip, snap, snip, snap. So now, she starts having sex with him. She's already pregnant. She knows it, but Michael doesn't know it. And, the timing doesn't matter because she can make up whatever thing she wants to Michael, and Michael will just believe it.
Yeah.
Because he's not the one to go deep into research on how babies are made and how long it takes. So he gets it reversed, and then she realizes, again, she can't do Scranton. She can't be with Michael, and talks him into getting the vasectomy again, because then if he has a vasectomy and she tells him she's pregnant, she'll say, you had the vasectomy, it can't be yours. Like, she's decided before the dinner party happens that she's going to find a way to eventually break up with Michael and get away, so she doesn't want Michael to have any thoughts that this baby is his, so she makes him get the vasectomy for a third time. Snip, snap, snip, snap, snip, snap. And so, yeah, in my mind, Jan is crazy enough to do that.
I mean, that's a brilliant theory.
Thank you. The people on Reddit really liked it when I first came up with it, too. Thank you, Reddit.
Here's another thought, though.
The people on the Office Pod didn't like it as much.
What?
They thought it was a little too far, like too much of a stretch.
I could see Jan doing that as like her first resort. Like, that's not even her backup plan. But my thought is, instead of, she's having a change of heart, because I don't think she ever planned on basically raising children with Michael. She says she does, or tries to convince herself she does, so he gets that second and third vasectomy. But what's the recovery time on vasectomy? They're obviously not having sex.
It's like 3 days.
No shit, damn, man.
Yeah. As someone who's had one, it's like 3 days. Sorry if that's TMI for the listeners, but
okay,
I don't want any more kids.
That defeats my theory, I guess. So
yeah, no, the recovery time.
I'm going with yours, man. That's a lot more solid than mine.
So then we've got the fallout from the party.
The fallout.
Do you think Jan noticed that Pam and Jim stole the CD? Or do you think she just has hundreds of them lying around like it's a cartoon character's closet?
Dude, she has tons, and the original signed vinyl and all that crap. She's got one in her bathroom, her car, in her work her work area, in her office, even though she's never in there. And she gives them away for Christmas. Do you think she paid for them all? Hell no. She paid for them.
No, I think she did. She was supporting him.
You want to say?
No, I think because when she worked for corporate, she was rich, so and very well paid. So I think she was buying them. I think she just fed him that money because she offers to basically pay Michael to drive up to New York and have sex with her one time. So
there's a lot of merit to that, or for his studio time to make the CD. I wouldn't be surprised if she wrote that song for him to do.
Yeah, she does. She does like making up songs.
And she's so into it when she's dancing with Jim and tries to spin around. He just never gets up.
Yeah, and then you got Jim and Pam in the parking lot singing their song, eating their burger. Those burgers did look tasty.
They did. They were dominating with those sweet tunes, babe.
That one night. Love that part. All right, so then Michael and Dwight are driving around. What do you think they did that night when they got back to Dwight's house? Did Dwight read him a Harry Potter book? Which one?
Prisoner of Azkaban. That's Dwight's
Chamber of Secrets.
That's Dwight's favorite. It's Dwight's
but Michael seems like a Chamber of Secrets kind of guy.
He's probably a Sorcerer's Stone kind of guy because he's still trying to comprehend the epicness of Harry Potter.
That could be. We do a lot of Harry Potter here. Go back and listen to a few episodes.
Let's do it.
But yeah, I in my mind, I think they went back. Dwight tried to talk Michael into playing night paintball for like an hour, and Michael was just like, "Nah, I'm tired. I want to go to bed." But he just lays in the twin size mattress for several hours, not being able to sleep. But I think Dwight's like sitting in the corner of the room reading Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets until Michael quote unquote falls asleep, and Dwight ends up falling asleep in the rocking chair and sleeping there all night. Like that's my vision of what happens that night.
That's very specific.
Yeah.
And
put a lot of thought into it. Thanks, guys.
I mean, hey, I totally see that as plausible. And Michael's the kind of guy who would enjoy Dwight reading to him, I'm sure. But he'd never admit it.
No, he absolutely wouldn't admit it, babe. So there's actually a real answer to this, which I'm really upset about, that I found in my research.
No shit.
The actual answer is that Dwight drives Michael around until he falls asleep like a baby.
What does he do with him after that?
Either leaves him in his car, or he probably gets Mose to help him carry him into the barn.
I could see that.
Do you think he went with the irrigation or America room?
I would go with the irrigation room. It just looks so nice.
Yeah, it was nice.
The-
You got the outhouse door slamming all night though. That's
True.
rough.
The straw mattresses probably are very comfortable.
No, not at all. And then we got Angela and Andy having ice cream, and Andy licks Angela's ice cream, and Angela just overreacts a bit.
That's so pure Angela, and I think that when she just slams it into the side of his car and mugs him afterwards, it's like,
Well, and like rubs it in,
Oh,
not just
yeah.
slams it and drops it. Like he just spent like $6 on that ice cream cone, I'm sure.
and Angela's so cold-blooded. She's vicious. And
She was angry already because of the whole Dwight situation.
oh, she was pissed, and I think that really displays Angela's subtle, comedic moments. Love them.
Oh, she's great. And then in later seasons, I noticed like she just goes after Pam about every little thing.
Yeah.
And it's really funny. Like she's just like, well, Pam, sometimes it's easier to do it this way. Or like when she has the baby and
Yes,
loses
yes.
all the baby weight
Yep.
right away and Pam doesn't. And she's like, I don't know, Pam, it shouldn't be that hard.
I just love. I can't believe we're like the same. We're the same month or whatever. Like, and you're just so big. She's just such a bitch.
It's great. So that's all I had on the actual dinner party on the episode. Do you have anything we need to? I have one more thing, but that'll be final. Any final thoughts on the episode?
After rewatching it again and listening to the babe count while I was going through, babe.
Yeah, babe.
When they said honey, I know they didn't say it all that much, but I felt like that
I
was
marked down the honey on the babe count.
Same here, and it was just like, that's just as grating as all the babes.
It was just, to me, it was weird that he threw a honey in there.
He's trying to mix it up, and
Yeah, I guess so.
Come on, babe.
So the final babe count, and this is for the episode of The Office, not the episode that we've been doing here, because I have no idea how many that
Let
is.
us
That's for you
know.
guys to tell us. Yeah, somebody count it. You'll get a magnet. So the final official babe count is 15 babes. 7 by Jan, 5 by Michael, 2 by Jim, and 1 by Pam. I had a really hard time confirming that on the internet. I figured it would be all over the place.
Yeah.
My first count was 14, and I guess I missed one of Michael's. So, but I've eventually found a transcript of the script and just Control F'd it to see how many times it was said.
Nice.
Yeah. So, thanks, babe. You got any office party stories, dinner party, holiday party, anything really about your life, personal office or workplace party stories?
I got a pretty funny Christmas one. Every year,
Ooh.
me and my management team, we would have a party for the employees. So we just get pizza and beers and stuff like that, and we'd hang out.
Was it a Maraca Christmas?
Maraca Christmas, dude? It was a
Or
tambourine.
Mo-Raka Christmas?
I don't even know. But yeah, this was the first year one of my good friends now, one of my best friends, had been hired at the company, and he's now a manager there. But I had to run an errand, and I'm coming back, and everyone had just ordered pizza. It probably gotten there 15 minutes beforehand.
Alfredo's Pizza or Pizza by Alfredo?
Pizza by Alfredo.
Is that the good one? Yeah, that is the good one.
I think so.
Yeah.
But yeah, I walk in,
Very
and
big
I'm
difference.
looking at all the pizza boxes. I'm like, what the fuck, man? There's no pizza left. I paid for some of this. I want some pizza. And I turn and look at him, and he has 4 slices of pizza stacked together and just demolishing it. And I was so pissed off.
You get 2 max before you can only get 2 before everybody else gets one.
No,
like you can't take more than 2 at a time.
Especially one of the bosses. And then he hits me with this gold, man. He looks me dead in the eye and he goes, "You want some of this one?" And it's basically like a crust and stuff like that. I never let him live that down. And
like in Home Alone when Buzz eats all the cheese.
Ugh. But no, I mean, he was ham-fisting 4 slices of pizza. I've never seen that.
He 100% did it just to be a dick to you.
He
He knew you wanted to. Those were the last 4 slices. He could have saved you one, but he chose not to.
He chose not to.
He knew you weren't there.
He ate a pizza and a half. I can't believe that.
I wish I had an office party story. Like I really don't. Like where I work, we do like a we call it the safety banquet because I work for a ready-mix concrete company, so safety is a big thing. But it does not get wild and crazy in any way. Like it's your dinner. Maybe you had a couple drinks at the bar before, but like we're not doing shots, anything like that. And then like there's people speaking the whole time and slideshows going on. It's very formal
Yeah.
and boring a little bit.
That just
Sorry if anyone's listening, but I know you don't listen.
your
so
boss
it
is
doesn't matter.
like listening, like that son of a bitch.
No, I'm pretty sure they knew it was boring because that we haven't done it for like 2 years now.
Oh, yeah.
Just because we haven't found the right venue to do it. My wife's work does a Christmas party every year, and that can get a little more crazy. But since she's worked there, we've had kids, so we're accustomed to being in by 11 at the latest.
Yeah.
So we haven't been there for the crazy parts. But one place I worked in college would do a Christmas party, and they did it in it was a pool supply store, so they do it in the warehouse of one of the stores, and there'd be moonshine flowing and everything. I never actually went to one of those, but these were crazy rural Georgians, all partying, drinking moonshine, and from what my mom and my brother say, they would get pretty crazy.
I can imagine the Georgians know how to do it, man. They've been around a long time.
Yeah, those moonshine and Georgians, they're right on it.
They drink that shit like water.
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
Yeah, so those are our office party. If you got any office party stories you want to share with us, go ahead, send them on Twitter, email them. But we got some Twitter feedback from, I posted earlier, just any questions, theories, anything anybody wants to talk about on Twitter. Read a couple of those from the Karaoke Big E podcast. Check him out. This is the best karaoke podcast you'll ever hear. Probably one of the only karaoke podcasts you'll ever hear, but he's great. Does karaoke right on the podcast. Fantastic.
Check him out.
Only sitcom that made me cry when Michael left the show is what he says. Which, I get it. Michael leaving didn't make me cry, but the scene with Pam gets me close.
Yeah, that when she's running
her goodbye.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, I always, they love each other, and I think that kind of shows that he's like a father to her.
Yeah, and he really became that, and all his kids grew up and married his other kids and had babies, which that's great.
Yeah.
Glenn from the Glenn Thinks Stuff podcast points out that Jim's dislike for Michael and Jan seemed to be stronger than his actual feelings for Pam because he tried to leave Pam at the party, which we already talked about that. But yeah, it was that's rough.
That was one of my favorite comments when I saw that pop up on my phone.
Yeah, good looking out, Glenn.
Yeah.
Glenn, great podcast too. He just thinks stuff. Check him out. The Fake Headlines podcast, Michael's Plasma Screen TV kills me every time. Again, same here as we discussed.
Yeah, babe.
Good luck paying us back on your $0 a year plus benefits, babe. And then the Thunk Tankers from the Thunk Tank podcast, you guys have heard them here doing Seinfeld episodes. They say, really, this episode sounds so raw, so right. Hope it goes all night. Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Which great job, Thunk Tank. They're great too. They drink and think, and it gets a little crazy.
I'd like to hear them drink and think and then talk about or sing that song because they might jam out.
That'd be good. That's a challenge, Thunk Tankers. If you can do it,
bring it.
Put it on Twitter so we can see it. But yeah, that's all we've got. We actually we got one. I keep saying that's all we got, but it's really not. This is gonna end 4 times. Don't worry. We're going to do a giveaway for this episode and probably the next few episodes. We're going to have a trivia challenge on Twitter in the next few days. So if you're not already following us, follow us on Twitter for the trivia challenge. The winner of the trivia challenge will receive one podcast about something magnet and maybe some surprise gift that I don't know what it is yet.
What is it, Calvin?
I don't know.
Exactly.
I'm just going to look around my house and send you something.
Here's a sock.
No idea what it'll be.
Enjoy.
It could be a sock. Could be a limited edition Spider-Man action figure. I don't know. Could be anything.
Could be.
It's mystery. It's a mystery.
Check it out, guys.
So yeah, that'll be up on Twitter. The episode will post Monday, so the trivia will probably post Tuesday or something. So keep an eye out for that. Answer the question. You get all 5 questions right. First one to get all 5 questions right, hopefully without Googling, wins the magnet and the surprise gift.
No Googling.
No Googling. If you Google, you will be eliminated. If you're like Ryan and just can't be away from your phone, I feel for you, but you'll be disqualified. We got some good questions. They'll be interesting.
I'm sure.
So good luck. Check out Nick on the You Are All Alone podcast. Episode 14 coming soon. 15? 15.
This will be 16, actually.
16. Did I miss 15? I need to go look.
I released that Christmas morning, I want to say.
I already listened to it then.
Yeah.
I can't keep track of the numbers.
Yeah,
I'm all caught
they
up.
come and go. But
yeah,
coming soon, guys. I have a bunch of new updates on that. Next episode coming up, I will also have a promo for a podcast about something, which is a great show. If you guys, want to tell your friends.
Yeah, check it out.
Reviews on iTunes, guys.
Yes, reviews on iTunes. preferably 5 stars, but you can give us any amount of stars. If you give us a bad review, we'll probably read on the show and make fun of you. So that works too.
I'm setting up the burners right now. I'm gonna sling some wicked ones. So
Nice. Good luck on that. Yeah, that's all we got. Follow us on Twitter at APA something. You can always send us feedback through the email at apodcastaboutsomething@gmail.com. We do have a website. It's not very exciting, but it's apodcastaboutsomething.com. All of the music for A Podcast About Something is provided by Those Cats. Please check them out. And thanks again, Nick, for joining. Thanks for listening. Tell your friends.
Anytime, happy to be here. Stay sassy.
And stay classy.